remarkable commentary from just about every single former national security official in recent years about UFOs.
I don't do anime games, so this is going to be interesting. No idea what this game's about.
Regarding David Grush, a former US Air Force officer and intelligence official turned UFO whistleblower, particularly in the context of UAP investigations. Now, the first thing that he did was hired Grush as a special advisor. So this happened in March of 2025 when Burleson
Turn
announced that David
around,
Grush
bro.
would be appointed as a special advisor to his office for a 4-month term, focusing on UAP issues and promoting government transparency. Now, this was, of course, a strategic step to leverage Grush's expertise as a former intelligence officer who testified in front of Congress, like we've already stated. But he also pushed for Grush to be hired as a staff member of the House Oversight Committee, indicating a desire to integrate Grush's insight into the broader congressional efforts. Now, there was also something incredible that happened, which was the restoration of Grush's security clearances. Now, Burleson actually worked to try and reinstate Grush's top secret security clearance, which had been revoked, to enable him to share sensitive information in a secure, compartmented information facility, otherwise known as the SCIF. So if you hear about that, that's it. By May of 2025, Burleson confirmed that Grush's clearance was actually restored, paving the way for a planned SCIF briefing during the designated UAP week starting May 12th. Now, we did talk about that back in May when that kind of kicked off. Now, there was also claims about Grush's insights and briefings. So Burleson described Grush as a wellspring of insights into UAP matters, suggesting his involvement has illuminated the path for the UAP caucus and the Oversight Committee. Grush reportedly provided the names of 20 officials with knowledge of classified that's obviously quite a big deal. And the controversial claim, which emerged in June of 2025,
And she says,
suggests
I got a
that
story
Grush
for you.
stated
Can I
that
tell you?
he actually briefed former president and now current
She
president
said to me,
Trump
and that's when I heard them in my mind, something like, oh, we appear to be fitting in pretty well here. And she's like, and then one of them, maybe the same one, I don't know, said, except
on such hype. Burleson later then clarified on X that he did not say that Grush personally briefed Trump, emphasizing the key distinction to correct the narrative. Now, this is where things are getting a little bit messy. So, this is the clip in question where, where is it here? Where this is where he says about the aliens and Grush briefing Trump.
Mira para abajo. Bóng bánh bánh bọc bọc lấy từ bóng.
Wait a minute.
Pablo va a Pedro. Para ti, Bri.
he said that the briefings he's had described, talked about that. He said when Trump was briefed, because Trump was on briefing, and he was in the middle of impeachment. Like he was in the middle of being impeached.
Pablo, 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 Pablo. You believe me? You believe Ezekiel?
She's going through that.
Ito pala kara
Had like this existential briefing that just kind of rocked his worldview. He joked in the briefing when they said that there were these half-breeds. He said he joked that Adam Schiff must be one of them. And so, Empty Schiff was a name.
So that was the interview with the just a small snippet of it where he states that situation. Now, he quickly cleared this up because there was a narrative going around that David Grush, during Donald Trump's impeachment, was briefing Trump and stuff like this. And he quickly jumped onto Twitter to say, as you can hear in this clip, I didn't say that Grush briefed Trump. Key distinction. Trying to obviously clear up that narrative as quickly as humanly possible. Now, he then also made some
You believe me?
that
You believe me?
David Grush actually recommended
You believe me?
seize the alien mummies from Peru. Obviously the ones with the dragon. Always get the name right, I do apologize. Because some of them had
You believe?
similarities of the ones that he perceived in classified readings, as David Grush rightly stated this to John Burleson. Don't forget, David Grush was hired as an advisor to Burleson. So he recommended that he goes and sees them. And this was the clip in which he stated this.
Recommended that I do because he said that based on the physiology of what he's seeing in some of these movies, not all of them, some of them are faked, but some of the movies that exist in Peru, they're based on the physiology, they are congruent with what he is seeing in briefings, in his formal work.
Really interesting. Really interesting. Because obviously the mummies from Peru, the cave mouths reason and all the rest of it kind of presented in front of the Mexican Congressional people have been ridiculed. But you've then got David Grush on the other hand saying he's got these alien things which is why you can cope with
to achieve excellence know what it takes to reach it. They understand the dedication needed to dedicate everything to one performance. This is the journey to triumph. This is the Rolex Grand Slammer Show Jump, where passion meets excellence.
Probably looking at my eyes.
How did that happen?
Have you ever heard of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC?
That's the bloody thing they're trying to ban. Do you hate each other when you fight?
Absolutely not.
We go way back. Music buddy of mine.
Come on, baby. Too much? Too much? Anche di panna, vedo mi repara poco.
It's 40,000 people cheering you on. There's no other highlight you can get. No contract, no money, no money. Do you have any stronger pain medication? Advil? Advil?
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mudahar. I know there's gonna be that one guy in the comments. Blue polo analysis. Well, it's pretty true. You know when I got the Best Buy blue on? I was about to crap all over Microsoft like they're the nicest treat in existence. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, Windows 10 is dying this year. I'm not shy about making videos on this. I've actually talked about this. And I basically said that, Windows 10, all the updates and security stuff you're getting, well, that's basically gonna stop, okay? Microsoft wants you to jump all the way to Windows 11. Now you might be like, but what if I can't upgrade my computer because it says it doesn't support it? Well, tough titty. Or you can use things like Rufus and basically cut out the parts of Windows 11 requirements that are in for you. But that's not to say that kind of stuff is gonna last forever, okay? Let's just be real. Now, I think it's kind of nonsense. I really think, Windows 12 isn't even here. At least support this. And, you know what? Microsoft kind of had to admit that, they're losing. Microsoft has to admit that they're actually losing. And, they straight up just said, yeah, we're gonna at least give you guys some actual updates for that 10. So, for instance, they released, this little follow-up just a couple days ago, and I wanted to, kind of cover it. So, here's what happens when Windows 10 support dies. Microsoft no longer provides any security or feature updates or technical support for any of those Windows 10 computers. So while they're gonna continue to function, they're not gonna receive those regular security updates. So if you're a Windows 10 person and you're like, I just don't want to go to 11, okay? Which, again, I don't really understand why not. If you can't upgrade, I upgraded to Windows 11 as soon as it was, officially available inside my VM and on that computer back there. And generally speaking, it's an okay experience. It's good for Windows, right? But if you want to protect yourself from all the nasty viruses that exist all over, you're gonna probably want to upgrade. Okay. Now, of course, any company or organization that operates Windows 10 may find it challenging to maintain regulatory compliance with unsupported software, which actually is a pretty important part towards the latter half of this video. But I want to kind of just run through this. So applications running on Win 10 may not be supported. Those 365 apps, they'll continue to receive any of those security updates until October 10, 2028. Which, again, shows you that obviously for a lot of people that aren't upgrading and have been subscribers, Microsoft's a little worried, right? If all of a sudden, those subscription services aren't able to use their product, which I suspect a lot of them are, they're going to start losing. So this is why they're giving those people feature updates and security updates until, of course, 2028. When that time comes, they're hoping that hopefully these people have switched over to 11 or maybe even Windows 12 by that point. You never know. So, of course, Microsoft will continue to provide security
security intelligence updates for Windows to generate virus on Windows 10 through October 2028. Now you might be like, doesn't that conflict with point 1? And no, it doesn't, because in point 1 they say like regular security updates and yada. But generally speaking, anytime you install Windows, you have a little bit and they're going to give you all of those updates till 2022. Because I very much doubt that Microsoft wants to be in a situation where a whole bunch of YouTubers, news people, like, they are all going to laugh at them when they find out, holy shit, guys, you're on Windows 10, congratulations, you're not going to get butt-fucked at end of life, okay? There's a reason why you can't connect things like Windows XP to the internet without any form of condoms on your routers or your system, because just by connecting Windows XP, or even older versions of Windows right now, I made a video on it, plenty of other YouTubers have made videos on it, Eric Parker made a good video on it, he kind of broke the news. Yeah, tons of like crazy botnets and hackers just look for Windows systems at EOL and infect the shit out of them and put them into botnets and use them for nefarious purposes, which is something that could happen to even Windows 10 or Windows 11, like 10, 15 years later, when it's EOL, you know, some person with a really old computer decides to connect it on the internet and realizes, oh shit, we're getting taken advantage of. Now, one of the reasons why, I guess, sort of companies kind of like got into how Microsoft lost a little bit was also some people are saying that Windows straight up said that they're powering over 1 billion monthly active devices. And you might be like, why does that statement really mean anything, Luda? Well, according to some people who basically cover Windows for a living, quietly apparently imply that a lot of people are actually abandoning Windows, okay? So they actually used to say that Windows was running on 1.4 billion devices. Now the thing is, for a lot of these companies, I'll just straight up say it, that number is super important to them, okay? It's like the holy grail, alright? That is like the biggest flex to all of their competition. As long as any company can say, we support so-and-so device, we have so-and-so many users, it's the ultimate dick swinging party to any of these companies. So I doubt that Microsoft just like conveniently rounded down. It's like talking about your dick size, okay? You don't round down. If anything, you round up if you can. So it's a quiet wonder of like, is Microsoft actually losing? But did they lose like 400 million people? I would probably wager no. I don't think 400 million people have just stopped using Windows out of nowhere. The thing about Windows is it's entrenched. And one of the reasons why this is important to me is that obviously Windows is not top dog anymore. I would say the last good version of Windows, in my opinion, is probably Windows 7. Okay, anything after that, it has felt like a fart in the wind. You know, Windows 8 fucking sucked. Windows 10 was like, alright, you're giving me Windows 8 without all the dog shit attached to it. And then Windows 11 is just kind of, you like AI? We like AI. We hope you like AI. Let's just shove as much AI shit as we can into this system. And I really feel like a lot of these big tech companies, like AI is just a sort of like weird business that they're all just running after. Okay, I'm not somebody that's a Luddite. I think AI can be cool. There's a lot of stuff that I was reading where like, you know, people were making these AIs, like these students, that were like diagnosing people with like, I think it was malaria, faster than like doctors could, inadvertently saving a lot of lives. In a lot of cases, I think in the medical field, AI is pretty cool. But then again, I remember that AI is also used to, you know, target civilians in military applications. I also really understand that AI is used to steal from the artist and then replace them without their consent. Just because that's how a lot of AI models work, right? You know, a lot of these big companies like Anthropic, like Meta, like Microsoft, you know, a lot of them allegedly will just download pirated content, you know, stuff that me and you would get a fucking nasty letter in the mail for, maybe even civil like litigation. But these companies can basically pirate, use the pirated media as fair use training material for AIs, and then when they get pinged for the piracy, they're really just paying the fine they knew they had to pay anyways. Remember, piracy really isn't a crime, I guess, as long as you're rich enough, okay? Like, as long as you can pay the fucking civil penalty, what does it even matter? You know what I mean? Who gives a shit? But anyways, I'm getting a little bit too ahead of myself. The thing with Microsoft kind of admitting this failure right now is actually good, because it really shows that they're not the top dog, okay? They used to be back when XP, Vista, 7, all the way up to 10, people used Windows because that's really all that could have been used. Microsoft was at an advantage. If you were a PC gamer, if you were anybody that wasn't using a Mac, Windows was the only viable alternative. Linux existed since the beginning, since the inception, but it's never really been a mature option up until very recently, where the average user can convert to it and not feel the level of friction they once did, right? That's the important part about this, right? That's the important part about this technological, gap that we're having here. Now that gap is really tiny. Now if you want to use Windows or you want to use Linux, aside from a few professionals with certain specific applications, like people that are locked into Adobe, or, God, you have to use Microsoft Office, even though I really feel like Microsoft Office is only pushed because big companies pay for subscriptions, and they just force that onto the user. I have never fucked with Office since high school, since my first job, ever since, I would say after 2010, 2011. We've just been Google Doc users here, okay? And that's just pretty much the family we're locked into. So, yeah, it's one of those things where obviously the competition is here, the choice is here. It is what it is. Now, one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about this stuff with Microsoft is, why has Windows basically been the dominant operating system? For a while, if you went to the store, you went to Best Buy, right? The only other option was picking up a MacBook. Apple's been around forever. And, I was somebody that made a sort of like 3 years ago, I built a Mac that was better than, I would say, most of the Macs you can buy for a fraction of the price. And I used that through a virtual machine Macintosh method. Now, ever since Apple switched their processors to M processors, their own stuff that was really good, everybody in the industry is trying to slowly copy them. In fact, they're so good that even me, a dedicated Apple hater, actually ended up buying one of these things because they're just really good. And, realistically, if you didn't want to get an Apple, your only other option was picking up a fucking Chromebook.
Fucking anime games.
Chromebooks aren't even all that bad either. If you wanted to go to Best Buy,
Why all dizzy?
you can pick up a Chromebook for $280. You can even install you can even install Proton and play some Steam games on it. Not saying the experience on this thing will particularly matter, but it's an option that's available. And it's no disrespect to the Chromebook people. I'm pretty sure if you put a Chromebook in front of some average person and all they did was want to browse the internet, watch some videos, they probably wouldn't give a fuck if it runs on Mac, if it runs on Windows, if it runs on Linux. As long as it runs their browser, it's all that matters, buddy. That's all they give a shit about. Now, looking into Microsoft's past, and this is where I kind of wanted to make this video to sort of showcase that Microsoft has never been like a competitive group, right? Microsoft has really gained a lot of advantage back during the days of MS-DOS, the original Windows, where they were the first ones with a very general usable operating system. But they weren't the ones with the best operating system. What Microsoft has always really done is abuse their position to basically remain dominant. Now, in capitalism, you might be like, doesn't the best product win, right? Doesn't the market decide anything? And you would hope for that, but that's not how it works. What Microsoft did before 1995 was they went to the OEM. So they went to the stores, right? Like the people that would sell, Windows systems. Now, you've probably heard the concept of default. I've talked about it. There's been an entire lawsuit recently involving Apple and Google